are called the Catholic Church, I believe, as the fullness of the pie. But we don't do every slice to the quality that other churches do. But we do have the fullness of it. Now, non-Christian religions. Non-Christian, the Catholic Church says, and I highly recommend Nostra Aetate, so I only have about 5 more minutes on this. The Catholic Church says that all religions that begin with the seeking of the good according to reason and where human beings are trying to discover God, that all religions reflect some, and in many cases, many aspects of truth. So the Catholic Church in no way dismisses Buddhism. We don't dismiss Judaism, Islam, Hinduism. Those religions are what is called, not all of them, but Hinduism, especially in Buddhism, for example, are what's called natural religions. Natural religions is when you have people in the state of nature which is still separated from God by original sin, but they were still in good conscience seeking the best that they could understand God. And when you are a human being of sincere heart seeking the truth, God can always be found. The problem is, what the Catholic Church says is that reason can only take you this far. God can be seen from the earth through the reflection of the things that He has made, but He can't be penetrated totally to its fullness of His identity. And so what happens is that the religions, natural religions, do contain truth, but only to a certain degree. And so what the Catholic Church says is that Jesus is the unknown finalization of the hopes and dreams of all humankind. So that if you're a Buddhist, you're going to find a lot in common with Catholics. They're not fundamentalists. You're going to find a lot in common with Catholics. But you're going to find that you can only go so far. It's interesting because we had a Buddhist and a Hindu at the Show of Faith. And I, as a Catholic, was the one who was able to have most in common with him in terms of spirituality. Because there were a lot of things that both Hindu and Buddhist, we found immediate linkage. Of course, when it comes up to the identity of who God is, we couldn't. Because that's where revelation kicks in. And in terms of time, for example, for the Hindu believes in cyclical. They believe that God created the world and the whole cycle of reincarnations, you keep coming back until you liberate yourself from the attachment to matter. See, reincarnation is not something positive. Reincarnation, especially for Hindus, is a curse. The whole point of reincarnation is that you know what matter is to a Hindu? Take your hand and dip it in water, and then put your hand on a pan full of flour and pull it out. Flour sticks to your hand. That is the way that Hindus understand matter sticks to the soul. And the soul has to come to a point to be able to rid itself of matter. The soul does not exist individually. I'll give you one more example, and then I'm going to finish up. Imagine you have an eyedropper, and the eyedropper is filled with water. And slowly you begin to push the eyedropper to the point that a little droplet forms at the very start of the end of the eyedropper. Now let me ask you this. Does the drop exist? Come on! The drop exists, right?
Yes.
Okay, now, keep on pushing it. And that little drop dislodges from the eyedropper and falls into the ocean. Does the drop exist? Show it to me. Show me the drop. Does it exist as a drop? It existed at one moment, but its individuality was a temporary aberration that as soon as it dislodged from the eyedropper, that temporary aberration joined the rest of the sea, and it is no longer an individual. That's you. That's you in Hinduism. In Hinduism. Now notice, they are already defining humanity. They are saying humanity is a temporary illusion. Okay? And the whole point of reincarnation is that the more stuck you are to matter, the less you can get out. You keep coming back in lower and lower and lower life forms because you're stuck. And the point of salvation in Hinduism is to get out of the cycle. And so they are defining what human beings are. Do we both believe in the same kind of, penance and asceticism and, taking ourselves away from attachment to matter? Yes. Except for different reasons. Okay? So, notice, we had a lot in common. But when we came to why, we didn't. We didn't. And so, the Catholic Church says, insofar as you go up here, we're with you. But we say to you that Jesus, if this was Hinduism, Jesus is the unknown part of what you still long for. If you say down here, you see man in this way, we say, yes, we agree. But the full identity of humanity, you can't know unless it is completed by Jesus. The beginning of time, the end of time, it's not a cycle. Yes, it has different stages. But until you understand creation the way God intended it in Jesus, you won't be able to understand the fullness of time or of the relationship of matter to the rest of the universe. And so Jesus ends up being the fulfillment of pagan religions that can only go so far. But insofar as they've gone to a good degree, they are and have truth. In some ways, they have also mixed with falsehood. But we do not deny them. Okay? That is all in Nostra Aetate. Okay? Read it. So, let me back off here. How many questions do we have?
Probably about 15.
Okay. I'm going to do some quickly, but let's start with any clarifications, anything that I mentioned that was not clear to you, or that you would like to ask. Yes, Carmen.